If you're looking into phones that offer the best price to performance ratio, you can't avoid running into the GT Neo 2. The price at which Realme's launched it at, given the specs, this combination is almost as attention grabbing as its neon green color. Now, I've been using this Neo 2 as my primary for a week, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through what is it that you should expect if you end up buying this phone. Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and if you do end up liking what you see here, thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that bell icon and all that. Let's now get the review. With a phone that looks like this, it's going to be pretty distracting if I don't address the build and design first. So I'm just going to do that right now. I love it. But then again, I have a fondness for green. I can see how this would be way too in your face for some. Realme does offer two other color choices in the Neo Blue and Neo Black, and they are comparatively more subdued. Okay, design wise, it's pretty much standard Realme. We have the power key to the right, the volume keys to the left, secondary mic up top, and to the bottom we have a SIM tray, primary mic, USB Type-C port and a speaker. Do note that the earpiece also doubles as a secondary speaker, getting a stereo output. It's reasonably loud and it's pretty clear. And now that we're talking about the earpiece, this works great for calls. There is support for carrier aggregation. There's 8 bands of 5G as well as Wi-Fi 6 and NFC support too. So Realme is done well in that regard. On the flip side, there is no headphone jack, and the SIM tray you see, it's just that it's a SIM tray. There's no hybrid stuff. There is no micro SD support at all. But what we get is 128 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage as base. Alternatively, you also have an option to pick up 256 gigs. With respect to RAM, it's 8 or 12 gigs on offer LPDDR5. Now guys, in the unboxing, I said LPDDR5, but when we edited it, I actually added an annotation saying it's LPDDR4X because there was a little confusion, but sorry about that, it is LPDDR5 for sure. Now, Realme does offer RAM expansion, which is just marketing because you don't really need more than 8 gigs of RAM on an Android phone. In fact, 6 gigs is it's plenty. Right? In my week with the GT Neo 2, I never had RAM expansion on, and to no one's surprise, I never had any issues with RAM either. Apps were almost always in memory. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. We were talking about build and design, right? So glass to the front, glass to the back, plastic to the sides. This phone, it feels nice in hand. The camera bump does not really allow for typing on flat surfaces. I mean, it just, there's a lot of wobbling, but put the case on like with most phones and that should be taken care of. Now, the case that's included in the box, it is not transparent. This is the case that's included in the box, and there are two ways of looking at this. One, if it was transparent, it wouldn't hide the beautiful green back. So in that case, this would be a negative. But the other way of looking at it, or rather how I looked at it is, in situations where you don't want to call too much attention to yourself for the phone you're using, this helps make the Neo 2 a little less in your face. Okay, you know what else is included in the box? The charger. The supercharged 65-watt charger here lets you charge the Neo 2 from 0 to 100 in a little over half an hour. So I'm definitely a fan of that. Now, the battery life itself is stellar to begin with. With moderate use, I was able to push this 5000 mAh battery to the end of day 2 a couple of times. So regardless of how you're going to be using this phone, how much you push the Neo 2, getting through one day on a single charge is most definitely not going to be an issue for the vast majority of people out there. Now, the 5000 mAh battery and the use of glass here means the Neo 2 is not as light as some of the competition. At 200 grams, it's not too heavy either. The form factor and the smooth bag does make this not optimized for single-handed use though. That said, the button placements are pretty optimal, so whether it's hitting the power key or the volume key or just scanning fingerprints, it doesn't require any kind of finger gymnastics. Okay, now let's talk about what's to the front. That display. This is a 6.62-inch E4 AMOLED panel from Samsung. It's got a 120Hz refresh and 600Hz touch sampling. So it's one of the most responsive panels you come across. But here's an issue. The GT Neo 2 doesn't push 120Hz when gaming.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
At least not as of now. Realme says it's coming via a future OTA. But as of now, even with games like Altos or Odyssey or pretty much any game that supports a high refresh, they're all locked to 60 Hz. Anyways, coming back, this panel can also get plenty bright. The support for HDR10+. With gaming, the Snapdragon 870 chip on the inside is strong enough to be able to push 120 Hz consistently, at least on other phones we've seen. So I don't see any reason it shouldn't be able to do so here once Realme pushes out that OTA and enables high refresh for games. It is also worth mentioning that this phone has a massive 4129mm square steel vapor cooling plate on the inside with a diamond thermal gel. In other words, what they are saying is we paid a lot of attention to the heat management, to the thermals to avoid throttling, and that shows. Performance was great, and I even ran the phone with the GT 2.0 mode on all the time. Realme's performance mode has been turned on, and as always, I left the refresh at the max, that's 120Hz. I know this isn't your typical use case scenario, but I wanted to see, did this result in some kind of heating or unnatural battery drain? But thankfully, no. There were no heating issues. The battery still managed to last till the end of the day. So Realme has done quite well here. Okay, let's now talk about something I didn't really like with the GT Neo 2. The interface. Now don't get me wrong, Realme UI 2.0 offers good user experience. It's stable, it doesn't have ads in your face. But the preloaded bloat did get on my last nerve. I mean, I am okay with bloat being preloaded because when a brand is being this competitive with pricing, then there are going to be some trade-offs, and preloaded bloat is one amongst those. That's perfectly fine, or at least that's something I can tolerate. But what becomes very, very annoying is the fact that a lot of this is uninstallable. It can't even be disabled. That is just so frustrating. I mean, Realme, if you're watching, please preload another 10 apps if you need to. Make your money there, that's fine, but just leave them uninstallable. Now, coming back, barring this, Realme UI was a pleasure to use. Apps were quick to launch. Everything felt fluid, very responsive, nothing to complain about. Now, one new feature that Realme's brought over to the Neo 2 is street photography. There are some cool filters here, and you can double press the volume key to jump straight into street photography. So the pictures that you're seeing here were shot using that mode. The primary is a 64 megapixel sensor with a f1.8 lens. The performance under good lighting conditions was pretty satisfactory. Even the 8 megapixel f2.3 ultra wide seemed to do well. Beat it up. Here's a fun fact. Realme does not mention the ultra wide camera's resolution under specs. That's just sad. Anyways, the third one, again, the resolution, which Realme doesn't mention, is a 2 megapixel macro, but the less we speak about that, the better. Well, the camera performance under good light was pretty acceptable. Even the video, which can go up to 4K 60, felt nice and detailed, quite stable. There's even an ultra steady mode thrown in, which can come in handy at times. Under low light, this camera fails to impress. The performance is not great. I mean, it is usable, but I would have liked to see better detail and lower noise. The 16 megapixel selfie camera that's found in this hole punch, it doesn't leave a lasting impression. It's okay for what it is. I did like the field of view. Overall, the cameras on the GT Neo 2 seem average. So what do we have here? Built-in design, I'd call it good. Performance, excellent. Display, excellent. User experience, I'm going to leave it at good. I mean, I'd probably take it up to good plus or very good if and when they activate the 120Hz for games. Battery life and charging, excellent. Cameras, average. You see how that sticks out? Given how good the rest of the phone is, the cameras definitely feel like the weakest link, quite underwhelming. But then again, the fact that the GT Neo 2 is priced at 32,000 rupees makes that a lot more palpable. If cameras are not high on your list of priorities, this is probably the best phone at this price point.
Hello there.
Wait, what? Isn't the Mi 11X cheaper? If that's the question you have, oh yes, it is. The Mi 11X starts at 29,000 rupees, a good 4,000 rupees cheaper. What do you get for this extra money over here? The Neo 2's cameras is supposed to be a tad better. It can do 4K 60 compared to 4K 30 on the Mi 11X, but still, hey, average cameras versus average cameras plus a little bit, it's still average. So forget about that. That's not a big difference. The Neo 2 offers a higher touch sampling rate and 2 extra gigs of RAM for the base, which again is not something major. The actual noticeable difference here comes in the form of battery capacity. This one has a 12% higher capacity battery and also a much faster charger, 0 to 100 in around half hour instead of 1 full hour. And then there's the cooling. The GT Neo 2 is supposed to provide better sustained performance, and it's got an in-display fingerprint scanner. And you also get 8 bands of 5G support on this compared to 2 on the Mi 11X. Now, are these differences worth that extra asking price? To me, I'd say yes. As long as the price difference between these two is about 3,000-4,000 rupees, you could go ahead and pick the Neo 2 as your better option. But sometimes the Mi 11X is available at crazy prices. If I recall correctly, it even dipped under 20,000 rupees for a bet. So if you're watching this video around the time of a sale where the price difference between these two phones is higher than 3 or 4,000 rupees, then the Mi 11X becomes the sweeter option. But if not, the Neo 2 is a very solid phone, one you'd be remiss to ignore. And that's my conclusion. So do you agree with what I've had to say in this video? Do you have a different take? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this review. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that bell icon if you haven't yet. And thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4 Retech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.